welcome back to the Light Skinema podcast. This is episode 15, where today we're reviewing After Hours. This is the first film we're reviewing from Martin Scorsese, so I'm looking forward to it a lot. I've seen it a few times. It was Jthon's first watch, but of course, before we get into it, we're going to be talking about some things first. Jthon, anything you want to mention before our specific topics we're going to get to, but anything you want to talk about first?
Wrapping up school. Pick up my mic here. I believe this will be the last episode in the current house. So I think next week we'll be back in Massachusetts. So that'll be nice. See all the family. Just can't wait to be home because it's been a long semester.
Any other movie stuff before our specific things or?
Yeah, let's go over them. I've been slacking on the month, but I feel like this week I've really been picking it back up. Yesterday, I bought tickets to go rewatch Kill Bill, this time being The Whole Bloody Affair, which, if you are not familiar with, is the original cut of Kill Bill before it got split into part 1 and 2 by studios. And it was amazing. 4 hours of just Uma Thurman kicking ass. It was amazing. And honestly, I think it might have been my first Tarantino film I've seen in theaters. So immediately, it just hits you off the rip. I'm going to spoil the intro, but just that gunshot after Uma Thurman says it's your baby, Bill, it reminded me. I knew what was coming, but it still, shocked me because it's wow. And
Me too.
We'll get into it later with the Warner Brothers stuff, but it's one of my favorite theatrical experiences, and I honestly didn't have a single thought going on in my brain during the whole 5 hours, and probably the most present I've been in a while just watching that movie and just being able to take in all the different elements that Tarantino throws at you. You obviously see inspiration from samurai movies that he makes a lot of references to with the dialogue, and it's Kill Bill. Probably get its own episode one day on this podcast, but just happy to be here, happy to be in movie theaters, and yeah, once in a lifetime experience. Might be a little dramatic hearing that if you're not as into movies as we are, but it's how I feel, and I love it.
No, it was amazing. I went as well this past weekend, and it was great. My theater, I don't know about yours, mine was pretty much full, almost every seat, but everybody was locked in, no nonsense. Everybody was there to watch the movie. And I've seen Kill Bill Part 1 and 2 each 3 times. When I watch them, I try to watch them back to back or at least close to each other. And watching it in this whole complete story, I thought was even better. They added a couple new animated scenes into that middle section with Oren's character, which I thought was pretty good. But it's great. The music, the soundtrack of this movie is really good, and seeing that the bride whole fight scene at the Japanese restaurant at the end is that was awesome. That's some of the best action choreography and production I've ever seen. So like I said, me and Jthon are very familiar with this movie before we went into it, but it was kind of like a rebirth of the movie, and I said in my review too, it kind of felt like I was watching it for the first time again, which was
Absolutely.
You don't get that feeling. It was really great.
My theater, well, my screening was at 6 p.m. and then by the time we all got out, it was midnight. So it was on a Wednesday when I saw it, so it wasn't completely packed, but I thought it was a good showing for the film, especially. I think it's been out for a week now since.
It has.
And there was one guy snoring next to me, but everyone in the movie theater was like, "Come on, dude! get it together. Like, but
Yeah.
I think I was eavesdropping a little bit, and I think there was one person in front of me, and I could tell from their reactions that it was their first time watching it, which I honestly I was a little jealous of, because imagine
Hmm.
just being able to experience it the way it was intended. Your first time watching it must have been crazy, but I'm glad people are getting to watch it for the first time and doing it so in a movie theater, which is where it should be watched.
Do you want to talk about your other couple things you watched, or?
Yeah, as for other watches, we have. Did we touch on Inside Out too on the last episode?
Yep.
Okay. Well, I did take one of your recommendations from the Christmas episode. I forget where you had it, but I did watch Klaus. Yes, it's pronounced Klaus.
Hmm.
I liked it. I wasn't crazy about it. Um, I enjoyed the animation. It had like a 2.5D animation where it's like mostly flat, but there's certain scenes that have that depth to it. Um,
Hmm.
I liked it. Uh, I thought the comedy was a little bland. It didn't completely win me over, but I can see why you would watch this every year. And I'm gonna spoil the ending, but did Klaus really have to die? Like, did Santa have to die? Like, that kind of took me out a little bit. Like, okay, you're not Shakespeare, buddy, but good try. No, I think I want to hear what you think, because I think this is your third time watching it now this year.
I haven't seen it this year. Not yet. I've seen it twice in total. I really like it. My first watch, I thought it was like I gave it a good rating, but I thought it was just okay. My second watch really made me fall in love with it. I just think the elf character Jesper, I just think his progression is really good because he's a very kind of spoiled, selfish kid in the beginning, and then he gets sent to the place. I forget the name, but he gets sent there to deliver. He has to deliver a certain amount of letters to be considered for something for his father or something. I forget the details a little bit, but obviously along the way he learns hard work and a sense of real community and actually doing stuff that helps people. So I think it's really heartwarming, and I like the voice acting from Jason Schwartzman and J.K. Simmons. I think they do a really really good job, and the type of 2D-ish animation I feel like is very nostalgic, even though this film came out only less than 10 years ago. But I really like it, and I'll definitely be rewatching. I think I have this planned for Christmas Day actually, so in the next few weeks I'll be watching it.
Yeah, I wasn't totally sold on the relationship between is it Jesper or Jasper?
I think it's Jesper.
I wasn't sold on the dynamic between Jesper and Klaus. I feel like they could have used some more time together just to flesh that out a little bit, but definitely a good movie. I did some background research, and I saw people complaining that a certain movie won over it during the Academy Awards in 2019. I can't think of the name, but I do know it got snubbed in that regard.
I can look it up real quick. Toy Story 4 won.
It was Toy Story 4.
Oh, they were no. The nominations were Toy Story. Oh no, Toy Story 4 did win. Yeah, they won. How to Train Your Dragon 3, Lost My Body. I don't know what that is. Klaus and Missing Link were the five nominated, and Toy Story 4 won.
That's a little
So
Mickey,
yeah, I
if
would.
you ask me, but
Yeah, I can agree with that.
we're the two biggest Toy Story 4 haters, but go check it out. Especially if you're with the family or something. Good for all ages. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And we'll jump back to Kill Bill because okay, here's a story. I was a little late, so I was I ran straight out of class, ran to my car from the other side of campus to go drive to the AMC that I saw it at. And I was maybe like 5 minutes early because they're going to play the trailers and whatnot. But I go and grab my popcorn, my food, which the ticket cost me $9. So I was like, "F it, I'll grab some snacks because it's AMC, it's Kill Bill. I'll go support movie theaters, especially with all the turmoil around it right now." So I'm talking to the guy at the popcorn bar, and he's like, "Yeah, there's gonna be. I don't know if you heard, but there's gonna be a lost chapter played at the end of the screening." I'm like, "Oh, is it part three?" And he's like, "I can't tell you, but you should stick around. I think it's gonna be worth the wait." And let's just say by midnight, when we get to this lost chapter, like that really threw me for a loop when I saw Fortnite pop up on my screen, and I watched. Was it 10 minutes? It flew by. Um, it was a really weird short film, but I can't say that it ruined my experience, but it was definitely a little off putting considering I watched 4 hours of Kill Bill and then you have certain like marketing decisions put in this short film. Like they censor the pussy wagon, but halfway through the short film the Fortnite characters start saying fucking bitch. So that was weird. But
Um, did you not know that they were doing this? Like you didn't see like the
I saw
adverts
I
for it?
saw on Twitter, I'm like, okay, it's just a trailer for Fortnite and they're gonna have Uma Thurman in the item shop or whatever. And I was like, okay, well maybe this is something different that he's talking about. And then when I got to the end of the credits and I see this pop up, I'm like, well, can't say I'm not surprised, but that was definitely a little blue balls moment because I was like, oh shit, they might hint at part three right here. Because I especially was paying attention to the dialogue between Uma Thurman and I forget the actress's name, but it's the first member of the Deadly Vipers that she kills. And there's always been this huge fan theory that Volume 3 will pick up with, what's her name? It's like, I want to say Veronica Green, her daughter, that
Oh yeah,
they're going to be like, oh, Zendaya is gonna play her daughter, and Maya Hawke will come in as a BB, and we'll see. Is it Darrell Hannah who plays
yeah, yeah.
Elle Driver? They're like, okay, she's
Hmm.
gonna train Nick. I think her character's name is Nikki. And she's like, they're gonna train Nikki, and they're gonna have this mother daughter showdown. I'm like, well, that'd be pretty cool, but we got this instead.
Yeah, I didn't know if they were gonna play this in the actual movie or not. By the time the movie ended, like I just got up and had a pee and I just left. So when I got home, I just watched this on YouTube because I know it was gonna be on YouTube. I didn't think they were gonna play it in the actual theater, but I guess they did. Yeah, I watched it too. I just watched it just to watch it. It's
It
nothing.
was a little goofy, but it definitely exists.
Yeah, yeah. I'll quickly go over my stuff. I mean, like I said, we're about to get into some better discussion soon, so I'll keep this brief. I think the last time that I spoke on here um, was about, yeah. So I guess I'll just start with around Kill Bill time. Like I said, I rewatched Kill Bill in theaters. It was great. I echo a lot of the things Jthon said. Um, I guess I'll go Little Woman because that's a big movie. I watched this for the first time finally. Directed by Greta Gerwig. Obviously, this movie has been remade countless times. I think 3 or 4 times. I would say this particular version is probably the most popular, and I'm glad I finally watched it. I think it was Overall, a pretty good film. I think two performances in it I thought were flawless. I think Timothy Chalamet and Saoirse Ronan were both like A+ here. I think this really started to put them in the conversation of like really good young actors at the time. Obviously, this film came out, I think like 6 years ago. Yeah, 6 years ago. Um, but I gotta say, I think the story is pretty basic, and I just for some of the characters I really didn't like. Florence Pugh's character I thought was incredibly annoying. I did not like her character. It's not a jab at Florence Pugh because I think she's a great actress. I just her character really ruined a lot of moments in this movie for me, if I'm being honest. And Emma Watson, I think, I'm a big fan of her. Obviously, she plays Hermione Granger in Harry Potter, and those movies are a massive part of my life. And I think she's a pretty good actress. I just don't know if she fit this this aesthetic or this cast as well as I think maybe I wanted her to. But like I said, I'm glad I finally watched it. It's been a film that's been in my mental watch list for a very long time, and it's a Christmas movie too, so it obviously fits the season. Um, I finally watched my first Bruce Lee movie. Obviously, everybody knows Bruce Lee, but finally watched a movie that he actually starred in. The Big Boss. I have this on Criterion collection. I have like a whole Bruce Lee box set, so I'm gonna start getting into it, and it was pretty fun. I mean, the action and kung fu is. If you think Kill Bill is dramatic and over the top, this holds a knife to it. This is just over the top. Like Bruce Lee is pretty much like an action figure. Like he can just do whatever the hell he wants. But it was entertaining. It was really fun. And I think the story was actually pretty good too. The story I thought would be pretty basic, but I had a good time with it. Obviously, After Hours we're about to get into, but I think the next thing I just want to mention it's just Zootopia 2. I finally got to see it in theaters. Obviously, this came out Thanksgiving weekend, but I just haven't been able to get to the theater to watch it. But I did. I liked it. I think it's just as good, maybe even a little bit better than the original. I think the detective story in this film is definitely very good. I think the new character, if you're watching the video version of this episode right now, you can see my poster. It's his name is Gary the Snake. It's voiced by Kiwei Kwan. I'm a big fan of him. I think he was like perfect for this character and what kind of the snake character represents in the world. And I didn't give this the highest rating in the world. It's not a film I'm going to be rewatching a bunch, but I could watch 10 more Zootopia movies because I think they have kind of endless possibilities to them. And this film is, I think, on track to make almost 2 billion by the end of its theatrical run. So they're going to be making many, many more of these to come. But yeah, my movie watching has just been full steam ahead. I'm starting to get into the Christmas stuff. In the next couple weeks before Christmas, obviously, I rewatched The Santa Claus and I rewatched Die Hard. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got on movie stuff. I guess for a little movie news before we jump into our topics, the Supergirl trailer released today. If you know me, I think we talked about it a little bit on the pod. I was not a big fan of Superman that came out this past summer. I don't think the movie's like garbage. I don't think it's terrible, but I just was disappointed in it for sure. So I will say my expectations for Supergirl are pretty low. Obviously, I go into any movie very open minded, and I'm interested to see a new Supergirl movie because obviously it's a character that hasn't been really given a lot of screen time or a lot of good movies. So I'm looking forward to that aspect. But I don't know if you want to speak on that, Jthon, because obviously you had a very different experience with Superman than I did.
Yeah, I watched the trailer and I also watched your TikTok on it, and I do agree with you that the set design and the music and just like the costume design, it feels like he is definitely retreading Guardians of the Galaxy just a little bit. But I can't say that I am too excited for this film, but I think I'll check it out. I think the character has potential, especially I think the direction they're taking her. It feels like it's going to be something a little contemporary for young adults, especially Gen
Yeah.
Z. Um, yeah, it's clear that James Gunn wants to flesh out the super family a little bit more compared to other interpretations of DC. And I think it's a better route than where they were going with the Snyderverse. Is that the or is it the DCEU? But
Well, DCEU is the official thing, but people call it the Snyderverse because obviously Zack Snyder was like James Gunn at the time. He had like a lot of control of certain stuff.
I think it's a better direction. Do I think it's reinventing comic films? No, but I think they have a plan to get these films out, and so far it's working. I mean, we're about to go Superman, Supergirl, and then Man of Tomorrow, all within 2 to 3 years, right?
Yeah, 3 year span.
Compared to Man of Steel, where we had one film in 2012, and then I don't count Batman v Superman, so that's all we pretty much have with Cavill. So I can't say they are wasting their time.
Yeah, I will give them that, I guess. But yeah, all right. So obviously, there's been a lot of stuff that's been going on in the film industry very recently, and I'm gonna kind of kick this off to you, Jthon, a little bit because I feel like you have been vocal about this before this news broke. But obviously, the Netflix Warner Brother bid that just happened this past week. Obviously, Netflix right now is, I think they're still the top bidder. Obviously, some news has changed. Is Paramount the top bidder now? Did they come in and make a bigger bid?
Paramount made a $30 billion increase off of Netflix bid. Netflix bid, I think, 79 billion, and then Paramount bid around 103. I want to say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, but obviously, I don't have all the details. I don't know if Jthon has all the details, but I think where our discussion is going to lie in this is more so how this is going to impact streaming and movie theaters and the way movies are made. So Jthon, I'll kind of kick it over to you because I feel like you are going to have a strong take on this.
Yeah, so if you're not familiar with the history with Hollywood and American filmmaking, there's always been the powerhouse studios, right? There was Warner Brothers, Paramount, Universal, MGM before they were acquired by Amazon, and they're important pillars to the industry because they one owns so many characters that we still see on the screen today, but also because they're the ones that are spending the most money on film production. And you're more than likely going to be seeing one of these films distributed by one of these companies like Disney, uh, now Amazon with the MGM acquisition, and potentially Netflix with Warner Brothers. But we're heading to a point where uh, Hollywood has just been on a strange path since the pandemic, and we're really seeing the apex of streaming here. I think we're at the high point with streaming and the capabilities, and I feel like it's going to plateau soon. And that I'm bringing this up because Ted, I have this written down. Ted Sarandos, co-CEO of Netflix, famously said a little under a year ago that consumers are telling us that they want to watch movies at home. And I can't disagree, but I also can't fully agree with him. And I think it's just a bad sentiment to have around this industry that is facing a lot of challenges, both economically and just on a production standpoint. I mean, I feel like a lot of studios are turning toward these smaller production companies to get their work done because the contracting is just not feasible with these big studios. I mean, you're almost setting them up for failure. A big reason why people aren't seeing these movies are you're spending like hundreds of millions of dollars on budget, and then you're not really attracting an audience, and then the whole production becomes a failure. So I'm rambling a little bit here, but
No, it's fine.
my thoughts on Netflix being a potential suitor for Warner Brothers, I think it's grim. Um, if I could have it my way, I would keep Warner Brothers as their own entity, but it seems like they've made their mind up on what they want to do with the company. Um, Netflix is facing a lot of backlash, but it doesn't really make sense from their standpoint to not acquire Warner Brothers. They would be taking out their biggest competitor on the streaming level with HBO. They would be acquiring so many different IPs, such as Batman. Like, imagine the Batman Part 2 on Netflix. Like, that's going to surely attract subscribers, and that's honestly where the main thing is. And it's about subscribers these days. You know, where's the money coming from? Uh, they say people don't want to watch movies at home, but we've had multiple $2 to $1 billion films come out within the last 3 years. We've had Barbie, Oppenheimer almost reached it. Being a, it was Oppenheimer rated R.
Yep.
So that in itself is an achievement. Um, we've had Avatar, Way of Water, Avengers Endgame. It's not that.
Top Gun.
Yep, perfect example. I don't think people don't want to see movies in theaters anymore. I just think we're in a weird mix of consumers not really knowing what they want, because I see a lot of backlash, people being like, "Oh, well, the mainstream movies that come out, like, we've seen them a million times, like Marvel's dead, DC's dead, whatever, like all these big action films." And it's like, well, you're yearning for these different films, but you're not going out to see them. So it's like, what do you want? Okay. And you kind of wait for it to come out on Netflix if you're not able to see it during that window. And it creates a lot of mixed opinions that people read from the box office to streaming numbers, etc. And we're just in a weird time. There's lots of different forms of media than there was 10 years ago. And I think I think both the upper, like, the executives need to make their mind up on what they want to pursue, whether that's full-time streaming, half and half, like we're going to commit to a 21-day theatrical window, or and then it goes on to streaming, and consumers need to make their mind up on how they want to watch movies, because this is decision time right here. I mean, hundreds of $1 billion at stake. This is a move that will affect the industry no matter how you look at it, and it's a pivotal point.
Yeah. I mean, I echo a lot of what Jthon's saying. I think my biggest kind of annoyance of this whole thing is just if Netflix does acquire Warner Brothers and they start to make the Warner Brothers and HBO stuff um, kind of absorb their models, then I'm going to be kind of disappointed, because obviously Netflix right now, they make original movies that go straight to streaming, and then they have the movies. Let's use, for example, Wake Up Dead Man, that is about to drop actually on Netflix at the time of this recording tomorrow. So Wake Up Dead Man, Ryan Johnson, obviously he's a big filmmaker. This is his third Knives Out movie. It does get a theatrical window. It gets 2 weeks, and then it obviously goes right to streaming. Most people, probably, I don't know what the breakdown of the percentage is. I don't have the numbers up, but I would guarantee you probably most people are just gonna wait until it comes out on Netflix tomorrow. But my issue is with this is if they do acquire Warner Brothers and all this type of stuff, that they continue doing that model over and over. Because imagine, obviously this year, Sinners and One Battle After Another are two of the biggest, best movies of the year. Both Warner Brother movies, but they both had pretty decent theatrical windows. Like I would say maybe 5 to 6 weeks on their initial release. They've gotten re-released since then, but 5 to 6 weeks initially. I mean, I would not want these movies to be cut from theaters early and going straight to streaming, because obviously it's going to affect movie theaters, because movie theaters aren't going to be able to play these movies in theaters as long. That's going to make the theaters lose money. It's going to make the studios lose money, because the bulk of your return on these movies is through the box office. Obviously, physical media nowadays is not what it used to be. A lot of movies back in the day could get a lot of um, revenue off the physical media releases, but that's pretty much non-existent nowadays, and it stinks. But obviously, this is just right now we're in the stage of bidding, and there's no really final decisions being made. And I think we're years away from them making the decisions of like, okay, we're gonna start pulling movies from theaters early. I think we're a couple years away from that. But it definitely doesn't look great, and I think it just stinks for a lot of people. But like I said, I'm I'm not a super optimistic person, but when it comes to movies and movie theaters, I stay pretty positive. I think obviously like the streaming world has ramped up, but I think movie theaters survived the pandemic. You know, being in the Boston area, I go to a lot of independent theaters. Those were able to survive, and there's still a huge appetite for in theater experiences. Like the 2 weeks that Sinners was out, I went to the theater 6 times in 2 weeks. My every theater I went to was packed. There was not one empty theater. Obviously, like me and Jthon just said, Kill Bill just got really re-released. That movie came out 22 years ago, and both. I mean, my theater was completely packed. You said yours was pretty good numbers too. And you went a week after the release. It initially released, so there's still a huge appetite for movie theaters. I don't think that's gonna truly. Obviously, the numbers are gonna continue to decline just through societal norms and streaming numbers. But I think the appetite is always gonna still be there. And I want to also touch on how you said, Jathan, how people are sick and tired of like the sequels and the Marvel stuff and the same things over and over. But people got to go out to these new theaters. Like, I mean, not new theaters, new movies. Um, Paul Thomas Anderson and Leonardo DiCaprio, that enough should get you to the movie theater. One Battle, it made an okay amount of money. It probably got its money back.
Probably
It probably
broke
doesn't have a
even.
huge profit. Yeah, and especially with award season now, it might actually lose money because the studio, Warner Brothers, has to pay for all the actors and cast and crew to go to all these award shows. But that's an original movie with arguably the best working actor and best working director today. But people, they're not going. Like, you have to go see these. Those are the type of movies you have to go see if you want these experiences to continue. Luckily, Sinners made a huge profit, which is a great thing. But Sinners for the first weekend looked like it was maybe not going to make its money back. Luckily, it had a lot of word of mouth, and it did good in the second and third weekend. But if
These are
those are
two.
the type of movies you have to go see.
These are two heavyweight Best Picture nominees too. Like the, it probably will be one of Sinners or One Battle After Another winning Best
I think it's
Picture.
gonna be. I think it's gonna be One Battle probably for sure.
That would
Like it's.
that would probably be my prediction if it happened today. But going back to Kill Bill, we need more special releases and just
Mhm.
commemoration of these movies. I mean, Martin Scorsese, when asked about Marvel movies, he described them as theme park rides, but maybe that's what we need more of. Maybe not from the movie telling perspective, but just from the sheer excitement and atmosphere we're building around these releases. I mean, say what you want about Marvel, but everyone and their grandmother went to go see that movie. Like those trailers were playing nonstop. You were left on your seat through Infinity War with that great cliffhanger, and people went to go see it, and it nearly topped Titanic and Avatar. I think it did beat Titanic. It nearly beat Avatar too before James Cameron released it, which is another example. But we
Yeah.
just need movie theaters to be remembered as a place that you're here to witness and experience. Like, again, go see new stuff. Like, I think a common argument made against stuff is when I see a trailer and you'll be like, okay, I'll wait for that to go on Netflix instead of going and seeing it. It's like, well, it's a valid argument you make, but at the same time, you're not really making the argument for others. Like, if you are going to see, well, I'll use One Battle After Another again as an example. Movie
Mm.
broke even. Critically acclaimed director. Leonardo DiCaprio, probably the most widely recognized actor after Tom Cruise. Movie broke even. It's like, when do you decide that something is going to be something I have to see versus I'm going to watch this on my TV and I'm going to make fucking cup of noodles while this is going on in the background? Like, I think the consumer definitely is a huge person and portion to blame for this, because I think our attention spans are decreasing. Um, Probably have zoned out listening to this podcast already and just hearing me ramble by now, but it's affecting filmmaking. I mean, I'm going to use Stranger Things as an example. Netflix is loving this new form with their scripts where characters are stating themselves. So you can actively listen to the movie, TV show, whatever you're watching while you're doing
Yeah.
something in the background. It's like they're trying to make movies into just noise when really they're experiences, they're shared human experiences turned into storytelling, and they're more than that, and we have to treat them more than what they're being treated
Yeah.
as.
I like how you said that. Yeah. I just the last thing I kind of want to say on this topic, how you said like movies, movie theaters and companies should do the re-releasing of stuff more just to preserve like theaters, and you can make money that way as well. You don't have to just make it all new movies. But I want to shout out IMAX, and this is not like, obviously they would never sponsor us, but I just want to shout them out because they do a really great job of that. They, in the last few years, they've done a great job of like almost every month, every 2 months, re-releasing something. This weekend they're re-releasing The Shining. I'm going to see it with my dad in IMAX. I have that movie. I have 3 or 4 copies of the fucking movie at my house. I've seen it 5 times, but I've never seen it in theaters. And obviously an IMAX is a great experience. Like, these are the type of things you got to go to and take advantage of while we have them. And that also brings me to Christopher Nolan, because I have a prediction for the Odyssey in 2026. Obviously that movie, Christopher Nolan's a big name. People are going to go see it just off his name alone, regardless if they even know the story or not. But I think he is such a titan in the industry. Obviously, the Odyssey trailer is, you can't watch it online. You have to go to the theater to go watch it right now at an IMAX theater, and he's taking it down offline. I think he is gonna have the Odyssey play in theaters for a minimum, I would say, of 2.5 months. I could see them even going to 3.5. I think he's gonna want to keep it in there as long as possible, and I hope, cross my fingers, I hope Universal will agree with that and let it play for a very long time. I could truly see the Odyssey, because it comes out mid-July. I could see it still playing in theaters till like October. Obviously, it won't be in IMAX the whole time, because IMAX has selected times for each movie. Like, everybody gets their couple of weeks in IMAX. But I think you will see directors like Christopher Nolan starting to put their foot down a little bit more and trying to make these great movies stay in theaters for as long as possible, because that only benefits everybody. It's going to benefit movie theaters, it's going to benefit the studios, it's going to benefit the cast and crew. So I hope we can get people in theaters as much as possible, and I hope we can get directors that are like titans of the industry to really start to put their foot down and be like, enough's enough, and you know we gotta come to some type of compromise, because there's no slowing down streaming, but at the same time there should be no slowing down the theatrical experience as well.
Yeah, and I think this kind of ties into why we kind of started this podcast, and that's just to cultivate and unite a community of people that, one, are just getting into movies and are kind of like unfamiliar or not as hardcore as us, but also because we are the front line. I mean, we are two young men who are entering their early 20s, and we are the next generation of moviegoers. I mean, I talk to a lot of people my age, and I wouldn't say a lot of them go and watch movies. I mean, I'm not gonna bash them for that, but that's their decision. And I think there's a lot of forms of different media today, but I think
Mm-hmm.
part of our job, you and me, Nick, is to remind people why they're so special to us. And
Yeah, definitely.
I think with streaming, it gets a little harder because one, it's like, okay, I understand if you don't go and see a movie because you think it's going to be at home, and let's face it, like we're in a economic recession right now in the US. So you're not going to be able to go out to the movie theater every weekend, and sometimes you have to go at home. But at the same time, we're not getting these consistent releases on streaming, you know. All of a sudden, you get Netflix because you're like, oh, I love The Shining or whatever. Next thing you know, it's off Netflix. It's like it's not consumer friendly, and we're in a stage right now with media. It's like they're capitalizing off this frustration between not being able to conveniently watch what you want to watch, and also at the same time trying to figure out the mess that's going on with movie theaters. So
Yeah.
I would just say that
This is the yeah. Go for it.
I would just say that I started this podcast because I wanted to, one, get my opinions on film off, because trust me, like I could talk someone's ear off about movies, and I'm sure they get pretty bored of it if you weren't interested. But another reason was to, again, just enhance this experience that we have, talk about our experiences, talk about what makes movies so special to us. We have to keep reminding people that this is an experience. It's not just you going to a room to watch a movie and then that's how you spend your Friday. It's like, no, like when I sit in a dark room and see this amazing movie like Kill Bill, just pure ecstasy watching this film, I don't get nearly the same enjoyment watching it on a phone, on my laptop, on a TV, and we'll kind of go into that with After Hours. It's like I unfortunately had to cheapen my viewing of this movie because I want to watch After Hours, but we're human. There's limitations. We're not
Well,
always gonna.
you don't have to beat yourself on that. That movie came out in 1985, so it's not like you have an opportunity to see it in theaters. But I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying.
This has turned into a rant at this point, but
Yeah, yeah. I just want to say, I know people in my personal life. Obviously, I'm not going to use any names. And then bringing it back to One Battle. One Battle has been on Amazon and Apple to rent for the past, I think, almost a month now. And I know a few people that have rented it, and they have literally said to me verbatim, "Oh, I should have saw that in theaters." And I was like, "Why do you think I say that type of stuff?" It's like,
that's the thing.
obviously the rate that I go to the theater is like crazy, and I'm not expecting for everybody to go, but I do recommend movies to people once in a while, and I'm like, no, One Battle is something you're gonna want to see in theaters. And guess what? They watched it at home, and guess what they said after? Oh, I should have went in theaters. Like, that's the type of stuff where the quote unquote average moviegoer, not even average, like I would say, like occasional moviegoer, they should be going to stuff like that when you hear about it, because it's not just me. Obviously, there's stuff online. Obviously, One Battle was getting great reviews out the gate. Like, if you see that type of stuff and you're interested, go take a chance on
The
it.
attitude has to change. Like, I'm not gonna dog on anyone in my personal life, but again, I've heard that excuse so many times, and it drives me crazy because it's like, okay, like, what are we doing here? Like,
And you spend the same money
you,
too. Like, when a new movie is available to rent, it's not like the 4.99 ones with old movies that are cheap. When you want to rent a new movie that's available on Amazon or Apple, it's 19.99. That's more, if not the same price of an IMAX ticket. So it's like you could have just went and saw it in theaters. It's because like some of their arguments start to fall apart when they're like, well, it was cheaper.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't. You paid the same price. You would have paid the same ticket price. So it's like, I don't know. It's just now we're starting to rant. I get it, but it's
The
annoying.
attitude has to change, and it's like I think about what it was like 10 to 15 years ago, and it was like it was a foregone conclusion that we were going to the movie theater on a weekend and we were just going to see whatever. Like we didn't even really think about what we wanted to see. It was like we see, I don't know, like 3 to 5 different trailers, and we're like, bang, that looks good, we're going to go see it. Or like it just wasn't like so indecisive compared to today, because I feel like you just have so many options on how to spend your evening with entertainment. But
Yeah,
we gotta get people back in seats, and we gotta get people excited again.
yeah, definitely. Um, yeah, not to push this along too much, and I'll try to keep these next couple things short. You asked me about this on the notes rundown, and I know I didn't articulate it well on there, but it's back to the this is not what's streaming, but it's back to the just kind of the film world and film Twitter. So I recently had a video on my TikTok where I was reviewing my last bunch of criterions that I ordered from the sale. And I only bring this up, it's not that I even care, it's just I think it's really like an interesting thing that people do that I just don't understand. Maybe it's just because it's an internet thing and people are just mean on the internet. But so I was reviewing my criterions, and all my criterions I bought are not like quote unquote basic movies. They're not movies that like the average person would even know what they are. But if you can see, I'm gonna move my camera a little bit. If you can see, well, I have a Kill Bill and Dark Knight poster as I've shown before on the podcast. So somebody left a comment where like they said, you have the two most basic posters in the world. Watch more movies, which those posters are basic. Like there's millions of people in the world that have those posters in their house. I'm not denying that. Whoever wrote that was right. But I replied to the comment and I replied with a screenshot of my letterbox, and I typed out, I said I've seen over 2,000 movies, and yeah, the poster is like, I'm not trying to be like unique. Like I know people love those movies, but just because other people love them doesn't gonna mean that I'm not gonna showcase my love for them. But then I wrote, because the person had a video, I went to their profile and they had a video up. They had a Frank Ocean blonde poster on their wall, and I said, "Oh, nice Frank Ocean poster. I've never seen one like that before." So it's like that person was coming at me for a quote unquote basic poster, but they had probably the most basic music poster after it. But a lot of my comments and my mutuals were like in defense of me. They were like, "That's crazy that you're telling this kid um, to watch more movies. He's seen some. He's seen over 2,000." He's like, "I don't know many people that have seen over 2,000 movies." But why I'm mentioning it and why I'm bringing it up is because I really don't like, and there's some other people I follow on Letterboxd that kind of fall into this category. I don't like when people judge other people's taste in movies, and what I mean is everybody goes through the stage of movie watching where they watch the quote unquote classics. They watch the Dark Knights, the Kill Bills, like the IMB top 100 list with like the highest rated movies. I feel like I've been out of that um, grouping of movies for a while. I feel like Jthon is starting to get out of it at this stage too. Like finally like checking off like the quote unquote greatest movies of all time. But why I'm saying this is just because they're, the top IMDb movies and everybody talks about them doesn't mean if you like them you're less of a film fan. I think it's like the dumbest thing, and I constantly see that. Like, yes, Dark Knight and Kill Bill are some of my favorite movies of all time. Most people like those movies. But also in my room that you can't see on camera because I can't flip my camera, I have Tenet, which is my favorite movie of all time. Favorite movie of all time. Most people don't like that movie. The Thing by John Carpenter. I would say the average person probably has never even heard of that movie. Obviously, it's a big movie within cinephiles, but I didn't know what that movie was 2 years ago. It's like I just don't understand why people get judged for liking movies that are quote unquote basic or quote unquote super, I don't know, known. It annoys me so bad because then I don't want to obviously name names or start to mention too many people, because if people watch this they might know I'm talking about them, but I don't like that attitude. Like if you like The Dark Knight and that's your favorite movie, you should feel good about that. if you're someone who only watches foreign films, you should feel good about that. It's you like what you like, but I don't like the the judging of people over something stupid like that. But I just thought it was really funny that that stupid kid said watch more movies. And I actually looked up his letterbox, believe it or not, and he has I, I'll round up. He has I think 600 movies watched, and he's gonna tell me to watch more movies. So we'll just keep it at that.
That's the most middle school mindset you could ever have, and that's so stupid. And you can apply to it in any other space, whether it be music, sports, like whatever. Like, I have a Scarface poster in my room. If you walk into my room and you think I'm a fucking like black pill like piece of shit, like that's on you. Like that's so stupid to me that someone could bash on you for having two of the best films ever made on your poster. It's like who cares? Like
Yeah,
who
it's just crazy.
cares? That's ultimately what it comes down to. Like what you like
Yeah, it's not that it's bothering me. I see it so much more so on film Twitter, and it's just like I don't understand it. If you like The Dark Knight, you shouldn't feel ashamed of it. If you like a 1935 silent film, you shouldn't be ashamed about it. Like it's just I don't really get it. It's just it's crazy.
that is ridiculous to me. I'm gonna well, I want to meet that guy up and see what he thinks in person.
Yeah, it's just I found it really funny because a lot like I have a lot of I don't want to say friends because I've never met these people, but I have a lot of people on TikTok that I am constantly in contact with and comment with a bunch because we all are kind of like very small creators in the film world, but we all interact with each other's videos, and a lot of them came to my defense and they were just like they were like, "What is this dude talking about? It just makes no sense." And I found it really funny too because it was a Criterion video, which I'm guarantee you have to more than half of those movies I mentioned in the Criterion video he probably has never heard of, but I don't know. Funny, it was just a funny thing I wanted to mention.
Like what you like, and
Yeah.
if you if you see something weird, then like maybe it's not for you. Like don't interact
Yeah.
with that space, but go out and experiment. Like I think he wanted you to see more movies because I don't know. Maybe he wanted you to get more. I don't know. It's a bunch of
No,
bullshit.
he was just being he was probably just being an internet troll, but I just found it really funny and I've it was a good topic to mention just to bring up other stuff. But you like you said with the music thing too, like my favorite two artists of all time are Drake and The Weeknd. It doesn't get more basic than that. But guess what? I don't care. I don't care if everybody likes them. That's what I like. It's like that's you shouldn't be ashamed
Yeah, yeah, and
of what you like, even if
don't make assumptions on people's intelligence because of
yeah.
what they enjoy. Like that.
He probably thought I just watched like Batman and action movies, which is I love those movies, but I watch other stuff too. Like he has no idea.
I have a Patriots shirt on right now. Does that mean that's the only thing I'm into? Does that mean like it's so stupid?
Yeah, people probably think, "Oh, you're a bandwagon now because they're doing
Yeah.
good." Like, but they don't know. Yeah, it was stupid, but I wanted to mention it because I feel like it's just a good topic to just like what you like, fuck what people
No,
think.
keep
Doesn't
them
matter.
coming because I
But you know, I love the TikTok film world that I've kind of gotten myself into. There's a lot of really cool people on there that I get to interact with. But last thing I just want to bring up, obviously award season is starting to kick up. Obviously it's the end of the year. A couple of award shows are about to start on the first and second week of January. I know Jthon that you this year you've watched the most movies you've ever watched in one year, which is pat yourself on the back. You watched a lot, but I know in terms of awards movies, you don't keep yourself in the mix as much as maybe like myself. And I'm not saying that to diminish you. I know just I'm pretty obsessive about it, but I want to go over some of them. And I know obviously some of these movies you have seen, some of them you've heard of, and probably some of them you haven't heard of. But on my screen right now, I'm just gonna kind of go through them as quick as possible for the Golden Globes, because I feel like the Golden Globes is the biggest one that starts off the award season. Obviously, as you can see, Best Picture for a drama movie, Sinners got in here, which was expected. Sentimental Value, I've talked about that a little bit. I think you added that to your watch list, which I do recommend if you can watch it in the next few weeks. Frankenstein, I think that was really cool to see that get in here. Hamnet, I watched a few weeks ago. That's expected. That's a Oscars Best Picture front runner as well. The Secret Agent, I'm gonna be seeing that next week, so I'm excited about that. But yeah, I don't know if you want to speak on anything you see, Jthon, when it pops up, but I'm gonna try to just kind of scroll through this. Best Picture for musical or comedy, Marty Supreme, I think will take this bunch of the category. One Battle could take it as well. I hope One Battle takes it, but Marty Supreme has been getting a lot of traction recently, so
Hasn't come out
I'd be
yet.
interested to see. I know, but it's getting from the film festivals and the screenings, premieres. It's been getting a lot of noise. No Other Choice was great as well. I saw that a couple weeks ago. Animated Best Picture. Most of these I did not see. The only ones I think I've actually seen are K-pop Demon Hunters and Zootopia 2. My personal favorite is Zootopia 2, but I think K-pop Demon Hunters is gonna win a lot of awards
I
this
need
year.
to see
That's
that.
actually a Netflix original. That's a Netflix original that's actually really great. They don't make a lot of great stuff, but that was pretty good. Um, Best Picture non-English language. I think this is either going to be Sentimental Value or No Other Choice. I think after I go through the actors, I'll stop, but I just want to go through the actors because I'm a big fan of them. Um, Best Female Actor in a Drama. I think this is going to be Jessie Buckley from Hamnet. I think she's going to win every single award in every award show. I think she's going to kind of sweep away. I think my personal favorite, though, of this particular set is probably Jennifer Lawrence, Die My Love. But I just don't think that movie has enough traction, and I don't think the voters are going to vote for her, if I'm being
There
honest.
seems to be a typo. Um, I don't see Chase Infinity on here, and
Well, we'll get to it. That different category. Golden Globes has multiple categories. We'll get to it. Best Actor Male in a Drama. This category, I think it's anybody's race, if I'm being honest, because the quote unquote Oscar frontrunners are in the other category. I think this category is much more interesting. I really like Dwayne Johnson in the Smashing Machine. I thought he was excellent. I think Jeremy Allen White was excellent. Train Dreams, I still have to see. I'm going to be seeing it this weekend. Um, my personal favorite in this list is Michael B. Jordan for Sinners. I would love to see him win it. I think it's going to be a tough category for him because I think the favorite is probably Joel Edgerton or Wagner Moore for The Secret Agent. But I think this is a good category, and I think it could be anybody's game. So yes, here is where Chase Affinity comes to play. Best performance by female actor in musical or comedy. I think this category is the tougher category for who's going to win. I think Amanda Seyfried was great. She was my second favorite female performance of the year in The Testament of Anne Lee. Chase Infinity, though, is my favorite lead actress performance of the year. I think she should win. I think it's a tough category, though, and obviously she's young. And but a lot of these award seasons, they kind of stray away from younger actors. Um, Cynthia Erivo was good in Wicked for Good. I just don't think the movie was that good, so I don't see her winning or even coming close. Emma Stone was good. I just don't think the movie's getting a lot of traction. And a lot of people are saying Rose Byrne, If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You, has a good chance. Still haven't seen that movie, but I will be seeing it. And all right, I've been rambling, but this is the last category I want to go over. Best Male Actor in a Musical or Comedy. I think this is a much, much, much tougher category. I think Ethan Hawke has a really good chance. He's great. Jesse Plemons is fantastic. Um, but I will say probably my two favorite leading performances of the year is Lee Bong Hun from No Other Choice. I just watched the movie a few weeks ago. He's excellent. I'm very happy that the awards season are recognizing him because a lot of times they overlook international actors. But DiCaprio, I think he probably, as of right now, is my favorite lead actor performance of the year. I think, there's a very good chance we could see him picking up his second Oscar. And obviously, Marty Supreme, Timothée Chalamet, haven't seen it yet, hasn't come out for us, but I'm looking forward to that as well. There's a lot more categories on here, but I'm not going to go into them now. But when award season starts to come around, I'm obviously going to be talking about it on the podcast here a lot. I'm going to be doing my whole Oscars picks once the Oscars release their nominations. I'm sure Jthon, you'll make your picks as well. Like I said, I know you haven't seen all these movies, but I feel like you've seen enough to at least, you know, make your picks when the time comes, maybe.
Yeah, I'll try to chop down a couple of those movies off the list. I'm always gonna be a little skewed in my award picks. I'm not afraid to say that, um, especially toward light skinned legend himself, Michael B. Jordan, who would be a dream pick to come on the Light Skinema podcast. But yeah, can't wait.
All right, well, that's kind of all our yapping before our um, movie review. Yeah, so we're reviewing After Hours. Martin Scorsese. This came out in 1995. I first heard about this film through Letterbox. I think I would say year and some change ago. I know Jthon, you've had it in your watch list for a while now. I feel like that was one of the. I remember when you did a huge addition to your watch list. I feel like this was one of the movies that you put in there early on. I've seen it a few times now. This was Jthon's first watch. I guess I'll go over the synopsis very quickly. Desperate to escape his mind-numbing routine, uptown office worker Paul Hackett ventures downtown for a hookup with a mystery girl. That's obviously very minimal to how crazy the story is gonna get into, but I have a great time with this every single time. On I will say when I was rewatching it this rewatch, I have it on Criterion. I did say to myself, I could see Jthon really not liking this movie. Obviously, your rating of it is not as high as mine, but it's still a positive rating. But before we maybe get into the plot details and some points, how was your experience watching After Hours?
Well, hold on. What made you think like this isn't gonna rate highly for me?
Because, and I kind of wrote this in my review, not updating to you, but this film is very singular in Martin Scorsese's filmography. There's no other film that's like it. I feel like he doesn't um, make characters and stories like this at all. I feel like this is really. I wrote it in my review. It feels very Lynchian. It feels like
I
kind of
wouldn't
a
go that
David
far.
Lynch night. No, but
I know
listen
what
to
you
me.
mean.
It feels like a. Let me explain it. I know what you know what I mean, but I want to explain it. It feels very nightmarish, and you don't know what's going to happen next. Now, as I'm saying that, he doesn't execute in the way David Lynch executes. I think David Lynch executes in a very um, better way than it was executed here. But I just mean in the sense of like this story is just stuff happening. There's no you don't really know the direction, and it doesn't really need a direction. It's just events piling onto each other, and I feel like that happens in some Lynch films, but they have a much better connective tissue. That's what I meant by that. But I just felt like you might have not given a shit about these characters and felt very. And this film is not long, but I feel like you might have thought this like just is just continuous like nonsense over and over and over. That's what I felt.
Yeah, I think that can be a strength at times to certain films when it's just like you said, like that slice of vignettes rather than a overarching story with uh,
Hmm.
moving pieces and all. But I do want to say that this film was not what I was expecting when I first got into it, like you predicted. It's not like Martin Scorsese's other films. He didn't write this. He only
Hmm.
directed it, but it very much is a silly movie, and I think it works. It definitely works. I love what he does here visually. It like imagine like a back scratcher. Like that's kind of what he was doing to my brain, just like eye candy. Um, I think, like you said, the characters aren't the deepest here, but It's not exactly a turn off your brain film, but it is just a sit back and enjoy this type of film. And that isn't always going to win me over. It's not a masterpiece in my eyes, but I think it's a good film. I think Martin Scorsese has stronger entries in his filmography, and I guess like yeah, my biggest critique would be like there is no like huge message or like meaning to derive out of it, but rather just like the madness and the I wouldn't call this an epic, but like it is definitely leaning more towards fable than like a movie in terms
Yeah,
of storytelling.
yeah. Um, I guess yeah, we can kind of get into the plot a little bit. I don't. Have you seen Taxi Driver yet or no? I feel like this movie, in some sense, I'm not saying it's shot the same or told in the same way, but I feel like up until the point, oh, I would say when he gets to let me get the character right, Roseanne Arquette's character, Marcy, when he goes to Marcy's apartment, I feel like it's very similar in ways to Taxi Driver. Like he's just a guy working a job that he doesn't really love or care for, and he kind of just seems like this like singular lonely guy in his life. You don't obviously know the backstory of Paul Hackett, the character, but he just seems like he's kind of in the same routine every day, going to his job that he doesn't really care for, going through the motion. But he goes to a diner, meets Marcy, the girl, and up until this point, it seems very normal. Like he just met her, they're gonna go hook up, and that's kind of in the same vein as Taxi Driver when Travis Bickle meets I forget the woman's name, but when he meets her. But then obviously this is where it just starts to unravel into complete chaos and madness when he loses his money in the taxi cab on the way to Marcy's apartment. Then when he gets there, he has the whole sequence with Marcy's what do you call it, roommate, Kiki, who does the artwork, the plastering. And I just feel like up until this point, this movie can very much present itself as something a lot different than what it turns into in the final hour. And my kind of question for this is like, did you feel like this movie was gonna be kind of normal up until this point, or did you start to feel that sense of like, oh, this is gonna be kind of like just a lot of chaos,
Normal in the sense of what?
like kind of a more linear story, and it was gonna be, I don't know, maybe just him and Marcy going on like a night adventure, because I feel like when he gets to her apartment, it just seems like it's gonna be just like them two, and it's not gonna be too crazy as it gets down the line.
No, I kind of expected the craziness, especially with how they build it up, and just one the title of the film, After Hours. It's like you kind of expect that from like this New York type of setting, and just the craziness in a city that never sleeps. And I got the sense that the main character is gonna be like just bumbling around the whole time in this place that he doesn't really understand, and you kind of see that throughout the film that he I wouldn't say bargains with, but he definitely has to like adapt to the other people because they don't have the same patience as him or they don't have similar values to him. And you kind of see that with the bartender who he trades keys with and like goes to his apartment. He gets involved in all these different shenanigans. So I did kind of expect that. It didn't throw me for a complete loop, but I enjoyed it because it brings you to all these different settings and it doesn't really make you sit in one place for too long and it kind of keeps you on your toes.
Yeah. Shout out John Hurt and Catherine O'Hara though, because they're the parents of Kevin McAllister. So this is what Mr. and Mr. McAllister were doing in New York before they settled down in Chicago. But yeah, I think this was another kind of question I had too. Obviously, throughout the movie, he pretty much is just saying the whole time, "I just want to get home. I just want to get home." I personally feel at some point he was kind of enjoying the chaos, because I feel like if he really wanted to get home, he should have just fucking went to the bartender, grabbed his keys, and got out of there. But he just continues to allow himself to just fall into this mess? Do you feel like he was kind of at a point, just kind of enjoying the chaos as much as he seemed like he wasn't?
Definitely. Like,
Yeah.
especially when he goes to the club and like he gets sat down for that mohawk haircut. Like he he didn't enjoy it, but I think it's like the thrill of it definitely got him going, and that's kind of what he pursued here. I don't know if you can like kind of relate to this, Nick, because you're not as big of a partier as you used to be back in the day.
Zero.
But
Zero. Unk washed. You know that song that's on TikTok by the Gap Band, Outstanding?
yeah, love it.
Yeah, that's me. That's me. You light my fire. Unk.
But I feel like anyone who had that, I guess, like era of themselves where they kind of pursued the chaos or like got drunk and then did all types of crazy shit, they can kind of relate to this character here who doesn't initially seek it out, but it finds to like pursue it, I guess, subconsciously.
Yeah. And I feel like a lot of times too, with his character Paul Hackett, I feel like when he was trying to be, nice to people and like continuing the conversation, going back like the lady Julie, who's the waitress, when he actually goes back into her apartment after he promised he would, but you think he's not gonna go back, and then when like he's with I'm trying to get the character's name. When he's with Catherine O'Hara's character, who is Gail, who drives the ice cream truck, he's like very nice to these people in the beginning, even though they're clearly oddballs. And it's like late at night, but I feel like the nicer he was to people, the more and more he was kind of digging himself into situations, which I feel like was kind of interesting, because even at the end of the movie when he goes back to the nightclub and the older woman is obviously, he's very nice to her, like he has a drink with her, then they dance together, but then she, to hide him, she plasters him in the paper mache. Like he was nice, but then he's just like stuck in this like mold. It's just like it's an interesting kind of dynamic, because I feel like he probably should have just been like
I like the rules.
kind of an asshole and just been like, go home.
I like the rules surrounding this world in the sense that, like you said, kindness is not like always paid back in full or like even just received. And I
Yeah.
thought it was interesting because his decision making isn't the best, but like he he's very complex in the sense that I don't think he knows what he wants, but at the same time he has certain values that he expects. Like for instance, again with the bartender, like you give me your keys and I'll give you mine. Like there's a sense of trust that he has in other people that I think is a little bit contagious, and some people take advantage of that, and some
Mm-hmm.
people admire it. With the blonde woman, was it Julie, who like becomes enamored with him?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, and it's interesting, and I don't think you really see a conclusion or like a statement as to uh, what kindness can bring you in this world, but it was interesting to watch, and it put him in new situations, and it was entertaining.
Yeah. Even with like the people he thought were robbing, well, they do rob, but he thought they robbed Kiki's sculpture. When he sees them, like, and then when he sees them later again in the movie, he's like, "Oh, I'm like," he's chasing after them, trying to tell them sorry. Like he's like his quote unquote nice actions and trying to like redo his wrongs only kind of further got him deeper into this kind of chaos of a mess. But
Yeah,
you
reminds
just, I
me
know,
of San Diego State.
I was gonna say, I know that we keep this podcast. Obviously, we bring some of our personal life into it, but obviously we keep names out and we're more broader about stuff. But have you ever had an experience like this? Not, I don't think either of us have had this crazy degree, but like you went out a night and you just were like continuously just finding yourself in new situations and like just kind of in a mess.
Probably every day. Like being dead
I wouldn't be
serious.
able to do that every day.
Yeah, it's a lifestyle.
Yeah, no, I can't. I wouldn't be able to do that. But I have. There's definitely one night, particular in high school, where I think I probably got home at like 4:30 in the morning, and completely sober. I just kept saying yes to stuff and going to different places and just doing random shit with my friends, and it was just like in the moment you just want to go home and say no, but then you're just trying to be nice and like go along with everybody, and it was nothing like bad situations like dangerous stuff like this, but like it was just like I don't know, like
I
you
think
you
it
feel like you're
comes
doing the
from
right thing, but
curiosity. Like you
yeah,
kind of have to see how this plays out. Like one, you're already
yeah,
like too deep into it to back out now. So it's like you might as well see this pay out. And I've been in scenarios where like it's funny because I forget who Marcy goes to the club with, but they're like, we're gonna be there, like if you want to find us, and it's like I've had that exact situation play out multiple times where I'm like, okay, I have to like split from the party, and now like I might run into you, I might run into some other people that we know of, and what other chaos brings us into the night? There's a saying that side quests give the most experience, and I
mm-hmm.
think that's kind of what this movie is about. Like shit, like this we got a side quest pulled up. I can't say no to it. Like
Talking about After Hours a little bit, obviously Martin Scorsese is a film director that both of us enjoy a lot. I feel like most film fans think he's one of the best. I absolutely think he's one of the best ever. I don't know how many films you've seen of his, Jthon, and this is like impromptu, but I have my ranking pulled up just so I can reference different movies. But what are some other movies from him that you really enjoy, or like maybe were big parts of you getting into film watching? Because I know I have a particular one that really got me into films.
definitely The Departed, Goodfellas, Wolf of Wall Street. Those were staples that I watched and before Letterboxd, like I already were familiar with film school. Raging Bull was one. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Taxi Driver. I don't think that was particularly assigned to me, but that's another one that comes to mind. Uh, let's see. Let me pull up his films.
Yeah, well, you pull it up, but the one in particular I wanted to mention that really, really got me super invested into films was Shutter Island. I mean, when I watched it, I was already a big fan of films, but like watching movies that I don't know, I would say quote unquote aren't like the typical stuff you watch. I would say like the big action movies is Shutter Island. I fell in love with this movie the first time I watched it was actually on a plane. Like I downloaded the movie on my phone. I watched it on the plane one way through, like all the way through, and then I put it on again on the remaining of the flight. Obviously, Leo is starring here. I think in the Leo Marty collabs, I certainly wouldn't say this one's my favorite, but I think this one is really. Even though this is a film that a lot of people know, I think it's still underrated. I think it's an excellent film. I think Leo's performance in it is beautiful, and it's different from a lot of Martin Scorsese other films. So I think it's just a cool kind of standout in his whole filmography. And I still have a good chunk of his filmography left, but I will say I think I've seen a good amount as well.
Yeah. I don't know if he directed this, but okay, he did. There is one documentary that I want to check out that I haven't gone around to because it is 246 minutes, but it is called My Voyage to Italy, and it's less about um, any particular experiences that he had, but more so just a collection. It's right below your cursor on the stream. Um, down to.
No, right here.
It's just detailing his favorite Italian cinema. I mean, if you're familiar with Martin, he is a watcher first. So he takes a lot of inspiration from Italian cinema. Uh, Again, I have not seen too much of this because I also just want to keep some surprises for myself, but I do know that he dives into Ennio Morricone scores and other very important Italian filmmakers. And if you're interested in movies like us or you just want to expand your knowledge, I think this is a great place to do that. I'm not sure if
Yeah.
you are familiar with this, Nick, but
I'm not. No. I know he does have a lot of documentaries, but I'm not the biggest documentary fan. But maybe down the line, there's still some movies of his I still want to watch, and I know that eventually one day I'm sure we'll do down the line, not in the near future, but we'll probably do a director's spotlight on him one day because I know there's a lot of films of his I want to talk about. There's a lot of films of his that you haven't seen yet, but I think would be probably some of your favorite films of all time. Like I think Silence. I think that movie, when you do watch it eventually, I think that's going to be one of your favorite films. I'm that confident of how much you'll probably like it. The Irishman, I really love. I can't wait till you watch that. Killers of the Flower Moon. Like the guy has a dense filmography that is filled with a lot of fantastic stuff. So
I want a shirt of Martin Scorsese with his hands up. And I want the
yeah, the
back of
absolute
it.
cinema.
I want the back of it to say cinema. And I'm just blabbering at this point, but if we were to do merch, I'm not sure the legal ness of this, but that'd probably be something that I would do. And maybe I'll make a shirt for Christmas for that. Because
Well, you
he's
can
Mr.
certainly make your
Cinema.
own.
Like,
Yeah. I think we're a long ways away from selling stuff though. But if you want to make your own, go for it. But yeah, I mean, I don't have much more to add to After Hours. I feel like I talk about as much as I wanted to. For ratings, I give it a 4.5 out of 5. Jthon gives it a 3.5 out of 5. In terms of my personal rankings, it is I think I have it number 4 on my ranking of Martin Scorsese films. I've seen it 3 times. I really really enjoy it. I own it, so it's gonna be a film that is gonna be rewatched a bunch in my life forever. So
if you love
I
New
don't know if
York,
there's anything you want to add to it.
if you love New York, if you love that urban lifestyle, that go 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 nature, and seeing some rainy alleyways with some street lights, this is for you.
All right. So our kind of last thing on the pod, I'm not gonna pull it up on the letterbox stream, so I'm not gonna interact with that anymore. But we've done this before, just a little game. I think it's really fun to do, and it's easy for us to prep. We're gonna be guessing our letterbox ratings of each other's. We each picked out 5 films. I know I picked my films either that the films I picked either you have seen as well, Jathan, or you're at least aware of. I tried not to do anything like too obscure, but yeah, I have my 5 ready.
I didn't.
I think you have your 5.
I did not get around to it, but I'm just gonna fire off some films.
Okay. Let's go back and forth like we normally do. I'll rifle one off first. As you kind of look through some, but for the film I picked first, King Kong the original from 19 I want to say 34, something like that, but the original King Kong. Obviously I know you haven't seen it, but I've watched it a few times on Letterboxd. So what is my rating of King Kong? And I will say it's in my favorites list. So if that's a little clue. That's the only clue I'll give you.
Didn't need it because I was just gonna say that it is a 5 out of 5 for you.
That's incorrect. It's a 4-star for me.
Okay, I'll take that.
Yeah.
I'll take that on the chin.
I do like it. I do like it a lot, but no, not a 5-star.
Okay. I'm going to go with something more recent, and I want you to guess my rating for Glass Onion.
Glass Onion. Yes, you did watch that recently. And I want to say, I don't want to sound overconfident, but I want to say you had the same or similar rating to me. So I'm gonna say you gave it a 3.5.
3.5 is correct.
Okay. Yeah, I give it a 3.5. Because I remember you watched Knives Out recently. You liked that a lot, and then you watched Glass Onion. I think a couple weeks after that. So I remember. All right. So my next film is a film that you have seen. I think only once, but it's a film that I've rewatched a few times. The Killer by David Fincher. What is my rating of The Killer?
That's easy. That's a 5.
Yep, it's a recent five too. It's a recent five.
Okay.
Yeah, I've seen that film I think 5 times now, and I've had it at a 4.5 the whole time, and I recently just bumped it to a 5. I think it's excellent.
Yeah, you're certainly entitled to that opinion, but my next.
But you know that's my bread and butter right
Oh
there.
yeah,
That spy stuff.
yeah, like what you like, but
Yeah.
my next guess, I want you to guess my rating for Beautiful Boy.
Beautiful Boy. I don't remember when you watched this. Because I'm a letterbox merchant, if you couldn't tell, and I keep up with Jthon's account as much as I possibly can, but I don't remember when you watched this.
I'll tell you. Jen,
No, 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 no. You don't have to.
is that gonna affect your?
No, I don't want any clues.
Okay.
I know that nowadays you are a fan of Timothy. Not that I'm saying that you weren't before, but I feel like in the last year or so you've watched more of his movies and you like his performances. Steve Carell, I feel like you probably like him. I'm gonna go with a 4. I'm gonna go with a 4 on Beautiful Boy.
That is incorrect. It is a 4.5.
Oh, okay, wow. So you really, really liked it. That's good. I like that movie a lot. I've recommended that movie to a lot of people. Back in high school, actually.
That end.
I like that movie a lot. It's a great movie. I think it's. I don't think it's Timothy's best performance, but it's certainly one of my favorites. Probably top 2 or top 3 for Timothy for me. My third film, and I'm keeping a tally here as well. Right now we're both 1 for 2, but for my third film, I have Stanley Kubrick's Full Metal Jacket. What is my rating of Full Metal Jacket? I don't know if you've seen it yet, but I know you're definitely aware of the film.
It might have been my first Kubrick actually, but
Uh,
I think I like this movie more than you do.
it's in your watch list though.
Yeah. I got it.
You gotta mark that as watched.
It is watched. There's certain films that I have watched in my watch list for the sake of I need to check it out. Again,
Oh, okay.
one example being A Better Man, but I'm gonna go with a 4. I think it's not really your cup of tea when it comes to Kubrick. I think you have ones higher on your list, even though I think Full Metal Jacket is it should be higher up, but I'm gonna go with a 4.
Um, you're incorrect. You're close though. It's a 4.5 out of 5. Full Metal Jacket is a film that I watched in full only a few years ago, but I have been technically watching it since I was a young kid. That's one of my dad's favorite movies, and I've seen the boot camp first half of the film countless times. I absolutely love that movie. I think that is one of the funniest movies of all time. That boot camp section of the film is flawless, and I think in terms of my Kubrick ranking, I think it goes 2000. No, it goes Shining, 2001, Clockwork, Barry Lyndon, Full Metal Jacket. So it's in my top 5 of Kubrick.
Okay. My next film. We've talked about this on the podcast, but I kind of want to probe your brain and see how good your memory is. But my
Okay.
pick for you will be Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
We just did that. So I feel like I'm gonna bang this because I give it a 3, and you were lower than me. You gave it a 2.5 for getting Sarah Marshall.
That is correct.
Okay, all right, yeah, yeah. I know that you weren't in love with it. I'm not in love with it, but I knew you were a little bit lower on it than I was. And okay, so my fourth one, funny enough, and this was not, I wrote this down. This is not me switching it. A film that we have talked on the podcast, in that particular episode as well. My film is Fast Times at Ridgemont High. What did I give that movie? That was in the same episode.
You got me. um, I'm gonna go with a 3.5.
Incorrect. Very close. I gave it a 3.
I want to get that.
Yeah, I gave it a 3, right on the dot. I know I was a little bit lower on that film than you were, so.
Okay. Okay, you got me there. I'm gonna throw you a spin from your favorite director too. Memento.
Oh God, I should know this. I was honestly gonna pick this movie for my list, but you watched it. I want to say you don't have to answer this. I think you watched it fairly recently, like within the last 6 to 8 months.
I'll say this: it's an airplane movie for me.
You watched it on the airplane, or you're degrading it to that
No,
level?
I watched it on a plane.
Okay. I want to say you gave it a decent score, but not as high as I did. So I'm gonna say 4-star.
4 stars correct. Dang,
Yep.
you're on a heater.
I'm a merchant on
Yeah.
that. Yeah. I give it a 4.5, and I know I remember you watching it. I remember you logging it, and I remember that it wasn't as high as mine. So. Yeah. All right. So my fifth and final movie in the current, if you want to know the current correct versus incorrect, I'm 3 for 4 right now, and you're currently 1 for 4. But um, my final film is in. This is a film that at the time we watched together in theaters, and I feel like this is the time where me and you really started debating this particular studio. Is the film I picked is Eternals. What is my rating of Eternals?
I know you like this movie, and that's certainly an opinion. But as for rating, I'm gonna go with a 3. 3.5. 3.5.
3.5 final?
Final answer, 3.5.
That is correct. 3.5. Yep.
Let's go.
I remember when we watched this. I feel like this was really the start of us when we used to get in those deep arguments about Marvel. But I've seen Eternals 3 times now. Twice in theaters, once at home. And the 3.5 rating has been consistent since it came out. I don't think the film's perfect. It's certainly not one of my favorite Marvels. But I really do enjoy it. I think it was a different style, and I think they did a pretty decent job on it.
Filler, if you ask me. But let's see. My last pick. I need to throw you off here. I need a banger.
See if I can go 4 for 5. That would be the record on the pod, I think. I don't think we've done that yet.
Okay. I'm gonna go with Heat.
That's a good one because I know you've seen it maybe more than once. And I want to say your rating was close to mine. And I feel like it would be pretty high because Al Pacino's in it, De Niro, Michael Mann. I'm just going to go with the rating I give it. I'm going to go 4.5 out of 5 for Heat.
That is incorrect. It is a 4-star.
Was it 4? Yeah.
Which probably, and I would bet on it too. It goes up with a rewatch. Love Michael Mann.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, we both did all right. Jthon did 2 out of 5. I did 3 out of 5. I think that's just a good way to, end off episodes once in a while and see how much we're paying attention to each other's movie watching. But yeah, I think this episode, obviously, we're recording this like we normally do, like a week in advance. But obviously, we're still in the month of December. But we wanted to shake it up, stray away from the Christmas stuff this week. I know we'll at least do one more Christmas film review to end off the month of December. Then we have some stuff planned for January. Obviously, like Jthon said, this is going to be the last time you see this background for him. He's going to be coming home soon for, obviously the holidays. We're actually going to be going away for a weekend, and as of right now, I think we'll be able to do it. We plan on doing an in person pod,
Oh yeah.
and I think that podcast, at least in my opinion, I think that one should just be more of us talking, and I think it could be a good opportunity for us to do like a, I don't want to say introduction to ourselves again, but maybe just like we can talk about more of our favorite movies and kind of how we did the first episode, just to get like start of the new year. Maybe we get some new fresh eyes on the pod. I think
I
that
like
will be
that.
more of just a conversation. Yeah, I think that would just be more of a conversation between the two of us, maybe just getting to know us and our films we like a little bit more. But like I said, we try to get these episodes out every week. We have award seasons coming up. Like I said, we'll do at least one more Christmas episode. I'll try to dress up a little bit more Christmas style for that. Uh, Stranger Things is going to end at the end of the new year. I don't know if we'll do a whole episode on that, but I'm sure that will be a large segment. I think that will be. I'm guessing that's going to be our first real, maybe big debate crash out on the show. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I think this is. I don't know how long this episode is going to end up being with some of the editing, but this is probably one of our longer pods. I feel like, you know, we're starting to get more comfortable in this. I know I certainly have been feeling more comfortable with the whole social media type of stuff. Like I've been doing TikTok. This January is a year of me doing TikTok officially. So I'm getting more comfortable with it. Jthon, this is obviously kind of, he's a behind the camera man, but now obviously he is doing this podcast, and I feel like you're probably starting to feel your groove a little bit more. And I certainly have noticed a shift in you from when we started this in the summer till now. So hopefully we just keep getting better and better and improving for you guys, and obviously improving for ourselves as well. But yeah, that's kind of all I got on today's episode. If you want to send us off, Jthon, with anything.
You guys have heard it a million times this episode, but go to the theater.
Yep. All right. See you guys next week for the next episode.
All right. Have a good one.